You guys are already have been here, going through all this costs for this long. So, congratulations to you for all of the time, the energy that you put into it. And I hope that you're getting the concept of what we're doing. This all examples that we're providing for you is not for you to, narrow down residual income or passive income or royalties income into these examples. The whole idea is to be able to teach you the thinking process behind this thing. How do I connect A to C, being B in the middle, being creative enough in that middle, creating the process, the procedures, the resources, the systems, so that I can connect A to C and get paid a little tiny percentage. And most importantly, that I can do this using sweat equity instead of dumping capital into a business and going forward. If you are looking for capital-based equity, there's a whole bunch of examples, and we can run an entire course on that. But this one is how do I get in with limited amount of funds and be able to make residual income going forward. So I'm going to put in the next three examples together. The reason for that is because these are particular ones that I've not gotten too much involved in, and I do not want to be able to go into a crazy amount of details for, but I want to use them as a way for you to still continue to have a pattern of thinking in a way that you can create residual income for yourself. And one of them is trucking, the world of trucking. How does the world of trucking work? And how do I make residual income, being sweet in the middle, doing that? The next one, of course, is stocks. How do I get into the stock market and be able to make residual income, being able to be there with little or no money doing that? And the third one, of course, is drop shipping. Of all these three, the drop shipping is the one that you can completely, for the most part, get sweat equity on. The rest might require some level of capital equity, being able to get into it. But I give you the concept of trucking. The concept of trucking is I can, at the same time, own a truck, in the middle, find a driver, put in the systems in place, go do a deal, and connect them to C, which is companies that need the truck, like Amazon, like Walmart. I heard Uber too is doing something in this space, that they will give you a contract and are willing to pay you if you have the driver, have the truck, and put in all the licenses and the systems required, licenses required, and you put all that together, and they're willing to be able to pay you. So C is willing to pay you if you have A and you've done all the work that is required from B. For the most part, based on the example that I'm going to use, it could be that this company could decide to say, well, I'm going to give you a contract of $18,000 every single month. If you give me your truck, your driver, and I'm going to generate that contract for you. Amazon has something like that online, regardless of who you are, you're white, you're black, you're blue, you're yellow. If you meet the requirements, the contract is sitting. It might not be exactly this amount of money, but there are contracts there based on if you have one truck, you have two, you have three, you have four, all those sitting down there, and you can be able to get in there. Your job is to find a truck. Your job is to be able to find a driver, put the driver in your system in place. There's a need for insurance in the middle in case something breaks down. There's a need for you to be able to know how much you're paying your driver. There's a lot of cost in running these places. And at the end of the day, you're now removing what you get paid from all of your expenses, including the driver, and that becomes your net. So your gross, which is what you pay, what you get paid, right? Plus what you pay your driver, plus maintenance, because these things travel a lot, plus insurance, right? Then, of course, when you calculate all of this, what you get paid, your gross minus your gross minus all of this, which is the driver, the insurance, the maintenance, equals to your net, and that net's easier on take home. The time that you're going to invest in making sure that you go in there, make sure that you have a good driver, make sure that you check up on the truck, it's the time that you are putting in residually, which is the maybe 5 hours every 1 week, will turn out to be 20 hours a month, which will mean that you have to be making over $5,000 if you're following my own 5-on-5 rule just based on the deal. And is it possible? Yes, it is to do 5-on-5 on this one. But of course, it requires capital. So now, if you know that it requires capital, and there's no way you could put in sweat equity in the middle, how do you go in without having that capital and still being able to earn in the trucking world? And that's where we're going to introduce the concept of OPM. OPM is the only way. OPM stands for other people's money, and that's the only way you can get into a capital-based residual income opportunity. When you don't have money, then now you can leverage on your resources, which is other people, that can give you that income. And we're going to take a whole chapter to break down what OPM means, how do you get into it, under the chapter called leverage or leveraging. And we're going to use that leverage to be able to break it down. So part of the things we call about sweet in the middle when we're talking about process, procedure, systems, resources is where OPM is. Resources are the 4 M's: manpower, machine, material, money. All that falls in here. When that is resources. Sometimes you cannot get in the deal because the deal requires some capital and you don't have capital to be able to do it. And you know that you could go be able to do this, coordinate all of this, and be able to get in the middle and get paid. I'll give you an example. A company approached me in Houston, Texas, and they said, hey, we're a trucking company. We find the contracts, we find the drivers, we connect A to B, we do almost everything else. You just need to invest in buying the machines and the trucks. We will run all that trucks for you, and every single month we guarantee we'll give you this amount of money. I think they were guaranteeing maybe about $5,000-$6,000 a month for doing that. You're going to buy a brand new truck. The reason for that brand new truck is because trucking has a lot. Every time your truck is not working, you're losing money. So you don't want to lose money. So you buy a truck so it doesn't break down at all. So it keeps working for the next 2-3 years, and there's warranties and insurance and stuff like that that takes care of the truck. And if it's brand new, it doesn't break down for at least 2 years or so, or 2 or 3 years, other than servicing, changing the tires and stuff like that. They are sweet in the middle. Without their own capital, they bring investors to buy the capital. They do all the work. Whatever profit that they find, they share it and give the owner of the truck a certain amount of money, and they sit on the other. That's how they make their money. So they've gotten into the world of trucking without having capital because they've understood the entire process and they can manage it on your behalf, and they pay you. And the other thing that they did say was, okay, if you buy this truck, this is what we're going to pay you for this amount of time. So they put the contract in about a 3-year period. When 3 years is over, the truck belongs to them, not you. But by 3 years is over, if you bought the truck for 100K, they'll probably have paid you maybe like 180K. Let's assume they're paying you 5,000 a month. 12 months is 60K. 3 years is 180K. You bought the truck for 100K. You've made 80,000. You're happy. You walk away. But now they keep the truck. What they do with the truck, maybe they go resell it. Maybe they still put it back in the market. That's their business. They've mastered the act of getting in the middle without having the capital and be able to generate an opportunity out of this market. This industry is very difficult to get in the African world. Very difficult. A lot of people who got into trucking in Africa, they've ran into a lot of loss. The roads are bad. There's a lot of dishonest drivers out there. There's a very difficult legal system for you to be able to retrieve your money. Insurance don't work as much as it should. I would not advise you to get into this in a third world nation. But some people get in there and they make money. If they know how to do it, fantastic. I've never done it. I would personally not advise it. The stories I've heard are very horrible. But when you get in the Western world, what's the worst case scenario? Somebody's going to run away with your truck. Insurance takes care of it. Somebody's going to leave the keys of your truck in the middle of the road and leave it in Miami and then leave it for you to go and find. There's a tracker on the truck. You can always go find your truck. You have a spare key. You pick it up, find another driver, take it out, and move on. Somebody gets an accident on the truck. Insurance takes care of you. You know, so there are headaches and hiccups, but they've already been taken care of. Oh, the driver does something crazy with you. There's a legal system that can allow you pursue them and make sure that you get money from them. It could take time, it could take energy, but it's possible. So the risk that you can expose, the contracts are, existing companies already have that contract. They are looking to be able to give it to whoever meets the requirements. Regardless of your race, there's no discrimination in here. You meet it, you go in, you do well doing that. So if you want to be sweet in the middle, using sweat equity, from this perspective, then maybe you know a little bit about trucking. Maybe you've owned a truck before. Maybe you have a family member who owns a truck. Maybe you could find a way to find drivers. Then you could decide to put all the systems in place, meaning you find somebody who has the capital, you find the deal, you find the driver, you find who is going to, and you connect it to be like what this company is doing. And this company right now, last time I heard, I think they have about 24, 25 trucks, and 3 of them is theirs. They've mastered the industry of trucking. They've had maybe over 19 OPMs, other people's money that they've invested in getting into that whatever, and all they do is manage it, stay in the middle, and they make money doing that. Is there money to be made? It is recession proof. Most of these trucks move food from one place to another, or they move packages, or they move deliveries, or they move something. Something like Amazon. Amazon is moving every day, and most of the time they don't own the trucks. And they're willing to give you a contract for you to be able to get in. The question is, do you want to go in with capital and own one, or do you want to go with sweat, meaning that you have some understanding of how the back end works, but there is an opportunity to be able to do that. I'm going to move to the next one, stocks. A lot of people have gotten into the stock market and made money off the stocks. But the question is, how can I make residual income out of stocks? Stocks is so dynamic that there are day traders, swing traders. There are a lot of traders that are going on. Some people make money on the day. They buy, they sell, they manage, they look at the company, they go on speculation. Some people read the technicalities of the stocks. I am not a stocks guy. I've never been. But when I got into the world of stocks, there's only one thing that I understood. One is I like to make residual income. 2 is I don't want to wake up every morning reading stocks and reading whatever it is. So there's only 2 ways I could get in. I either know somebody who is a master of stocks or a broker that I'm going to put my money on and they're going to play in the space. I did that for almost 10 years. Average return was about 10%. I didn't really like that. But I had a friend of mine, his name is called Razak, and Razak is an auction. Auction is someone so detailed to a point that they have spreadsheet for almost everything. That's how technical this guy is. When he got into the world of stock, he knew it so well. I trusted Razak so much. All I needed to do was give Razak my own, my own capital to be able to play it. He is a day swing trader. He trades that way. But now, I'm sitting down with Razak and having a conversation and saying, if I want to make residual, I'm not in here for make some quick money. I'm here to be able to make residual income. So I want to be able to put money in companies that can give me something called dividends. Meaning these are companies that are stable. They're not going anywhere. Airbnb, Facebook, Tesla, Amazon. I'm talking now. Those are companies that if you had invested in it before, you'd have done really well. But I'm talking companies that are like that. Essential. They're not going anywhere. Telecoms companies, airline companies, food companies. Companies that are very, very stable. That I know that when I put my money in, over time, this company will be paying me dividends, and that dividends becomes my residual income. I'm not selling. I'm buying to hold and get residual on a stable, foundational company that everybody knows, trust, and know that will be there for a very long time. If that's your strategy to make residual income and you have capital, that's what you should be looking at. But if you're going from a sweat equity, meaning I don't have any money, but I understand the stock market and I want to be able to earn in the stock market, then you will be somebody like Razak, meaning that you understand the stock market so much that people could give you funds to go play in that market. You play that funds, pay them in their own whatever percentage that you agree with them, and then of course you can earn in that space based on what you're doing, meaning you're using OPM, other people's money, to be able to trade, make some income, make sure that you take care of your people, and then you're sitting on whatever it is that is remaining. But from my own understanding of sweet in the middle and from residual income, the best way is to be clear about your strategy, that you're going into the stock world from a completely 100% residual income based on dividends. So you find companies, you stick into it, you stay there, and you ensure that they give you dividends. So dividends is what you're looking for when you're getting in this part of the world. The third one is drop shipping. Drop shipping is a sweet, almost perfect example of sweet in the middle using sweat equity. The concept is simple. I'm connecting A to C, and I'm B in the middle. And I'm going to create all the processes, the systems, the procedures, and the creativity to make it happen. Ask me how. If I live in Africa, and I have a guy that I see every single day that makes nice shoes, for some reason, maybe this guy is not educated enough, doesn't understand social media, doesn't understand marketing, doesn't understand all of those kind of stuff. I can take his shoe, take a professional photographer there, take the pictures of the shoe, and go create the system and processes for me to sell this shoe by putting it on something like Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, putting it on, retail stores, that can sell almost all over the world. I will put it in there. The site will belong to me. I'll put in the payment gateway. Somebody can see the shoe, order for the shoe. Once they order for the shoe, I can create the system in a way that the guy who owns the shoe can see the order, or I can send it to him manually. He can take the shoe, package it together. I've put a system of a delivery system. Maybe UPS comes to pick it or FedEx comes to pick it. They pick the shoe, they send it to the customer. The money comes to me. I take my tiny percentage out of it. I send the rest to the guy who owns the shoe, and I'm just making money by staying in the middle. I give you another example. You know a guy who knows how to make some incredible out of this world food. And the food tastes so good, and it can package in a certain way. And this guy doesn't know how to be able to sell it. But this, of course, will be your local neighborhood. He can't do international. And then all of a sudden, you can package all of this on an Instagram, and then you can point it to the customers, and you can get paid in the middle. I'll give you an example. Another example. There's a guy who makes my clothes, who makes my traditional. In fact, one of the guys that made even this shirt. This particular one wasn't the one that made this shirt, but he made some good, beautiful clothes for me. That were some of my most finest that I like kind of attires. I later found out that this guy doesn't know how to sew. He's never sewn it before. I'm like, oh my God, I thought you were the tailor. He says, no, I'm not a tailor. This guy apparently creates sweet in the middle process and systems in place where he finds customers. He takes fine times to measure them. He charges them. He shows them the material. Then he sends all of this to a bunch of people who are semi-educated, who sits down there, sews all the clothes, and he takes it and gives it back to the customers. And then he charges, take for example, he charges the customer for a nice attire for $20,000, which is like $80. He's paying these guys $30. They get the work done. He's just in the middle. And he gets paid like that. And that's his hustle. He doesn't know how to sew. He's never sewn before. His job is just to be able to do all the advertising, the marketing, create the systems in place, the payment gateway, and make sure that between A and C is the only person in the middle that gets paid. A lot of people have done that. If you're living in the part of the world that you have never ever heard of drop shipping, or have never heard of a way of connecting A to C in the world of products or in the world of services, then you should go spend some time looking at drop shipping. Of course, there are pros and cons. This one, for the most part, the majority of the part, it could be completely sweat equity going in. And you could be able to do well. Moving on. So, I'm going to talk about some unique way that you can also be sweat in the middle, focusing specifically on sweat equity, meaning literal or no cash, and being able to connect A to C. And I'm going to talk about approaching companies to be their sales representative. I can tell you for sure, many companies struggle to be able to sell the product or services that they produce. Many, even though the product or the service is really good, have to go into the world of advertising, marketing, and internet marketing, advertising, digital marketing, stuff like that to be able to sell their product. And I already told you that every time they do that, they only get like about 2% to, about 2, 3, 4, 5% in terms of every time that they put in some type of energy form into their sales. So if a company sends out flyers, or they're sending out advertising online, and they're throwing it on YouTube, or they're throwing it on Facebook, for every 100 persons that see it, only two to 5 really do actually buy because they've seen it, right? And it takes sometimes over time, when they have to see it over and over and over again, that it falls on the consciousness of the consumer to buy. So companies know that their biggest part is the sales and the marketing, and they know that it's a volume they have to keep pushing and stuff like that. So every time a company sees somebody who can push their product, they never say no. If you approach a company and say, well, you know what, I know you guys do this, I know you're already big, can I get the right to wholesale for you? Small to medium company would most likely say yes almost immediately. Very large company will probably want to do some extensive paperwork, maybe ask you to own their franchise, ask you to be able to do, but all you're technically doing is going out there to promote their brand. And companies do that. I want to give you guys an example of some of the ones that I personally got involved in. One of them, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm just going to show it. One of them is called Azamansard, because it's a legitimate company that I have a partnership with. This is one of the largest insurance companies out of Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. And I'll tell you how I stumbled into it. For most of you guys know that I own a condo, a flat, oceanfront flat property in Lekki, right on the ocean, in a place called Lekki. The apartment is on the ocean, basically. And on that estate, we are just block of flats, some apartments sitting down there. There are a lot of people who have terraces, standalone property and all of that. I think there are probably about maybe 100, 150 properties in the entire estate. And my condo, because I'm always away, I started putting on shortlets, which I already talked about. But the next person, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know the safety. And I know that if the fire ever gets into that property, it's going to get into mine because they're so closely related to a point where anything crazy happens to any of them, it affects the other one. It's not like a standalone. So I started approaching my company, my estate, and asking them, why are we not insured? There's a lot of risk, especially the builder that did the work of the entire estate. They didn't do the most quality work for the most part. So we had to rerun a lot of things, wiring, a lot of plumbing, a lot of all of this. So I wanted to make sure that we had some insurance that protected us. And initially, some of the estate residents were like, oh, no, we don't have to, want to put our insurance in the hands of God. No, we're not going to put it in the hands of God. We're going to insure and hope that God guides us to be able to make that happen. And then we started talking about insurance. Then we went to a vote, and then finally somebody approved us that we should seek for insurance company. And then we set up a committee that was going to look into the insurance. And I became a chairman of that, well, not chairman, a member of that, whatever, like leading the whole committee that was looking for insurance for our estate. And everybody started, introducing different insurance companies. And at the end of the day, we had like 4 or 5 insurance companies that we're looking at. And eventually we stumbled into this company called Azamansard. Those who have been in that committee that have a lot of financial insurance background, they recommended it is one of the best, they are one of the largest. In fact, one of the board of directors, the chairman of the board of directors, who used to be the owner or co-owner of the biggest, one of the best banks, has a reputation of integrity, of knowing exactly what to do. And then we started talking to them. When we're done, they decided that they were going to insure us, and that insurance ran into billions. I think it's probably, in local currency, I think it's about maybe 10 billion naira or something like that, something crazy. And this is in dollars, is multi-million dollar to insure everything in terms of fire and all the entire estate. Not content, just the structure and stuff like that, against fire, against flood, and it's on the ocean, against hurricane, stuff like that, hands of God. And they did the insurance, it pulled through, and I led that insurance. And it dawned on me, I'm the sweet in the middle guy, king of the sweet in the middle guy. Why wouldn't I get myself in the middle for connecting A, which is my estate, to C, an insurance company, and staying in the middle? I just did that absolutely free. And then another part of me says, well, it's an integrity issue. If you're going to be making money there, then it means your intent of recommending insurance is solely for your own personal gain against the estate. So I asked out. But once that deal was done, I went back and had a conversation with the company and said, listen, you just did a multi-billion naira deal. Now I have the relationship with the head of partnerships, so I'm talking to them personally, and I was like, listen, what if I recommend a deal as big as this to you? What percentage would you pay me in premium on a monthly basis for doing that? The guy was like, we have a budget that we spend on advertising. We could as well just divert that to you every time you connect it to B. What if I take you back to the same estate of mine, declare my interest, and resell content to the residents, their car insurance, their health insurance for their domestic staffs, their car, their home, their content, their this, their that, their life insurance, stuff like that? Will you be able to do that? You will do all the work and get your insurance agents to do that, and you will pay me a commission? Let's put it to work. And we went through the legal aspect of everything. And when the legal was done, I got my license to be able to do that. Then I'm thinking in my head, who do I know that owns a big estate or is building a big estate that I can have conversation with? I can tell them, listen, you are a builder. There's a probability that when you finish building, something will go wrong with your place and you're not insured. Why don't we find a way to get you insured so that when something goes wrong, insurance company basically wants to pay for it, and they could even hire you to go back and fix it. It gives the consumer, which is the home buyers, some kind of certainty on knowing that what they are buying as insurance, and they will take ownership of the insurance payment once the purchase of the house is done. It becomes a win for them, a win for you. The place is insured, they are paying for it, you are insured. You know that if anything goes crazy in the future, you're coming back to you. The insurance company is happy because they know that they will do all the inspection to make sure nothing goes crazy. Everybody's happy, and I can get a tiny percentage. Then all of a sudden, I remember that my cousin's brother, my sister-in-law's husband's family owns one of the biggest building development company in Abuja. And that's how conversation started. And I'm thinking, how do I get my estate to double sell them in additional services, declaring my intention? How do I get my brother-in-law to be able to do that deal? And then he bets the being in the middle. All that thinking is the creativity that you need for sweet in the middle. Think about it. Think about it. Nobody would ever have thought that just a single transaction of insurance could turn into a residual income generating opportunity by you now looking for what processes would it take for a new build to own an insurance and you get paid? What will it take in terms of system to make sure that the insurance company can talk to the residents of this estate and additionally sell them on the things that they already need, like domestic staff health insurance, like content insurance, like content meaning protecting their chair, their TV, their refrigerator, their stuff they have in their house, protecting their cars, protecting all of that, and you can get paid a percentage from a reputable company that's already insured that can give them an wholesale to people that are already existing because you created the process. Do you know what an average person would have done? Sat down on that committee, get the work done, then walk away with a thank you. Do you know what a residual income thinking, sweet in the middle guy would have done? Look at it and say, people pay for this insurance in terms of premium on a monthly basis, and this payment goes continuously. How do I get myself in the equation? And that's the birth of approaching companies and a way of thinking of getting there. I'll give you another example. There's another company called Hoop Internet. I wanted to say telecoms. It's a small amount. I mean, it's a billionaire corporation as well in Africa. That they offer radio internet, radio, using radio wave. And we were just having a reunion, and I was just talking to some few boys that we went to high school together. Some of them went to another. And this guy told me, oh, I'm the director of sales for this company. And I'm like, okay, you're director of sales from the insurance company? Okay, fantastic. Oh, nice. And I just thought to myself, if I send customers your way, would you pay me a percentage every single month when those people pay their bill? That's like, we're always looking for customers. What do you mean? I'll go to my legal team and they'll pull something out for you. Are you joking me? Can you send me customers? Do you have a way to do it? I said, I don't want to send you customers that are paying $30 a month and I'm bothered about the $6 that I make. I want to send you a customer that the volume would be about $30,000. So I'm a little bit bothered about the extra income that I make. If I go out there and pull a stunt that would get your internet company there, would it make sense to you? You guys says, yeah. Says, okay, give me an agreement on it. Oh, I'm going to talk to my legal team. Send me this, send me this, send me this. I sent it to them. Their legal team went to work. They came back, boom, boom, boom. We signed an agreement. They boom, boof. They called it an wholesaler agreement. Boom. Paid zero. Same thing with Azamans that I paid zero, other than the documentation I had to go get a police report, criminal check done, and all that I paid maybe $30 to do. Zero to get this deal done. Zero. This one too, zero. Legal. Done. Boom. I have the wholesaler agreement in place. Then a bunch of my friends says, oh, they're setting up a property and they wanted to use it for shortlets. Maybe 10 minutes away from where I live in my own property. And they had like a 10 flat and they needed DSTV and insurance. And I'm like, oh, I don't have a DSTV deal, but I have an insurance deal. And I don't have internet. I have an internet deal, but I don't have DSTV deal. And I'm like, okay, Let me call HOOP to see what's the quality of their work. Let them go install the radio wave internet in there. They went there, they installed the radio wave, they got it all happening. I think every month their billing for that place is maybe about $200, not $300, $400 or something. But they are supposed to pay me 20% for doing that. And I wanted to see how the entire process works. Once the process works and I got paid my first check, then I'm thinking, this thing works. I'm getting paid. Every month these people pay their internet and they're paying me a tiny percentage for linking A to B. Okay, how do I scale this up? Then my brain went back to my brother-in-law, who is in the business of development of huge estates. And I'm thinking, can we have this company be the one to fiber optics or radio wave the entire estate with internet using my influence relationship, which you're going to talk about leverage in the next chapter? That now every time, once I can make sure that I put the system procedures in place, which I've already done with all the contracts and everything, and I make sure that the quality of the work they do is good, once people get in, internet is an essential service, they're going to pay for their internet, and now they go pay me. One deal, multiple residual income shots. Done. Then my brain is now thinking, what if I go back to my estate that just did an insurance deal that's multi-billion? Although they do have a company called MangoNet that offers them internet today, but what if and some residents love this MangoNet, and some other residents think it's the most horrible in the world. What if I give them a radio wave option? Pick it up if you like it. This is a company that will hook it up for you. They're an internet provider. Knowing fully well, 10 minutes away, I just did that deal for a few friends of mine, and it works really well. And I know it does work well in terms of integrity and quality for myself as a person. And I could have closed that same deal and start getting paid residual income in a third world nation. Did I need any kind of special skill to create partnerships in telecommunication, partnerships in insurance, partnership in that? All I did was being creative. I saw the spots. I had relationship with people. I met people accidentally. I just told you how I met the person with the insurance is because of my estate. I was on the committee. I met the person. This other one was just a reunion. This guy went to my high school. Right there, went to his high school close to mine. We're all both in one group called the Interact Group. And right there when we were talking, there were over 20, 30 people there. And everyone was talking about what they were doing. And he said what he was doing. And almost 30 people in there could not spot a way to earn income from what he did. But I did instantly because I've tuned my mind in a position that he could only see how to earn residual income in opportunities. And we could create 2-3 opportunities in just one gathering because I'm spotting. How do I connect you to be? Oh, you are an insurance company. Oh, fantastic. I can know people who own insurance. Okay, I can connect sales agents together to get insurance. I can get paid a little tiny percentage. I need you to focus on the process of thinking. Everybody went into the same reunion. And all they could hear was words. And in the same meeting, with the same set of people, all I could hear was opportunities because I'm tuned into the sweet in the middle mindset of looking out to connect A to B. And that's exactly where I want to be able to get you to, while we're testing you bit by bit on the ability to be able to get into the world of earning, creating the world of residual income. Let's move on. And I can keep going on and on and on and on ways to be able to earn residual income, passive income, royalties income. But I just want you to get into the thinking of sweat equity, no money or little or no money, and using creativity to create processes, systems, procedures in place for you to be able to earn. And I've given you multiple examples, not for you to get into those industries and go make money in those industries, but for you to understand the thinking behind each one of everything to see that somebody can get in almost any industry, because we've talked about multiple industries right now, make residual income. And I'm showing you my personal experience on the ones I've personally gotten involved in, apart from the 3 that I bundled together, which was just additional material from what other people have done that I haven't. The rest, every single one of them I've done myself. So I want to get you guys into the final one for today in terms of thinking. And this is in the business of loans. Loans, making your money work for you. Many of you go to work to make money. Many of you have forgotten that money could go to work to make you sleep. You go to make money, but money can also work for you, right? When you go to work to make money, you should be able to understand that the money you make, you can send that money back to work to go work for itself to bring you more money. And that's what the world of loans will be. I'll tell you how I stumbled into it. I know that some people have some extra cash flow and they're loaning out to people, take some interest on it, and they're good. They make a couple of money here and there doing that. But I never really got involved in stuff like this. But my father-in-law, I'll give you the story of my father, my wife's father. I'll give you the story of my wife's father. My wife's father is a very good man. And my wife typically boasts that his father is a millionaire in every currency. I probably think she's just playing with me. So don't take it literally, but the father is very comfortable. He worked for one of the oil and gas companies. You know, he got early retirement because the company gave him an option to retire very early. So he got out of work maybe his early 50s or so, or even prior to that, you know, earlier than that. And while he was working, what he did is bulk of the money. The guy's not a businessman. He's a very conservative man. His risk appetite is almost next to zero, very low. He never ran any enterprise, never ran any business, but he knew how to go to work. And when they paid him, he knew how to take the bulk of his money, found somebody who was a partner in the bank that they gave the money to. The guy loaned out the money to other people and they paid him a percentage back every month, maybe 5%, maybe something like that. So every month he found a way to double his money or make money out of his own money. And then whatever proceed he was earning, he started saving it in some type of low-risk investment. By the time he had to leave work, maybe in his late 40s or early 50s, he had enough money outside his pension, which was not enough to send 5 of his children to go to school abroad. Every single one of them. At least my wife, I know that when they came abroad, he sent my wife, the elder sister, the middle younger brother, all of them, because they were like 2-3 years, and he sent 3 of them to Canada. And not only sent them to Canada, I think he bought them a house. He did buy them a house. I think he bought them a car. He gave them everything they needed. All they needed to do was just to go and study from the proceeds that he got from a creative way of learning. And that was fantastic. You know, my wife graduated, everything seems okay. He's still spending the money almost up until today. Then his son, his first son, graduated from university, went to do masters in the UK, finished from the masters, went back to the same oil and gas company that his father used to work, and then he duplicated exactly what the father has done. And what he now did was to take that and officially open up his own company instead of partnering up with a banker like his father did. He decided, well, you know what, I'm going to set up my own company. And he set up his own company, Imperial Wharf, and his own company now loans money to other people. Do you know the funny thing about what that is? He does not loan money to outsiders. He does not loan money to, he knows the risk of the business to a point where he only loans out his money to employees of oil and gas companies that he could tie their employment and their income to his own loans. So he knows I can get them. I know they work with me. I know how much they earn. I know their salaries. Most of the people working in this oil and gas company, a lot of them appear rich. They have big cars, big houses, big everything, but their cash flow is very limited. Some of them want to do a quick business. They need quick money. They go to him because if they go to the bank, the story is long. He only charges them 5% or 6% every single month. And some of them, when school fees start, because they have a lot of kids and they send their kids to international, they don't have enough savings to pay for the school fees. They come to him. He pays it. School fees is paid 3 times a month. He gives them the money and they loan it. Some of them want to have little ventures here and there. And he grew that small business to a point where what he earns from the loaning business supersedes and almost double what he earns working for an oil and gas company. And they earn a lot working for oil and gas company. He became a master of it. Oh my God. And he doesn't do anything else. He's still conservative, makes money that same way. And he's doing way better than us that are a little bit more risky. And I'm like, okay. What you will learn in this course is that part of Sweet in the Middle is understanding leverage, understanding how to use relationships to be able to master where you need to be able to go. And I'm going to talk about leverage, dependent, interdependent, and independent, interdependent, and dependent relationships, and where you need to be to use relationships to be able to get to where you need to be able to go. Remember I talked about Razak? Razak is relationship and leveraging on my friend who knows stocks for me to earn in stocks. Now, this is my brother-in-law that we love so much. Done crazily, we're watching for the last 10 years. We've seen how good he's done. And we're now saying, okay, how do we get into business? That's how I got into the business of loans. And it was simple. I had this set of money. You already have a system, process, procedures in place. My resources of getting in there, because I didn't set up the system, I didn't set up the procedure, I didn't do any of that. All I had to do was to link myself into Sweet in the Middle using resources. Resources meaning the people that I know. Part of resources is manpower. Part of it is money. Part of it is machine. My resources here is my capital, which is my money, and the manpower, which is the people that I have. People is the manpower. And this is the capital. And I leverage on it and say, hey, uncle, brother-in-law, you know I'm just a skinny guy from Nigeria trying to make sure that I have a better life. I beg, I have this amount of money. Can I give it to you? Can you take this amount of money and then add it into your capital base? And I was like, hey, if I don't do it for my family, who would I do it for? Hey, sure, bring the funds. And I gave him the funds. And I found out that every month I'm getting 5% of my money. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. Then I'm like, hey, maybe I can go do this on my own. That's the stupid me. Started putting the processes, you know, and I just opened up, hey, if any of my friends need money, they should call me and we'll see what I can do. And a few of my friends called me up. I looked at them. I've known this guy 20 years. He's a great guy. He has a business. How much do you need? Boom. I loaned like 3 or 4 of them of my money. Out of the 4 of them, I think 3 of them disappeared with my money. I haven't collected it till now. Only one probably returned it, and I lost almost everything. So it's a highly risk residual income opportunity. I lost it. They just refused. My relation, well, what would I do to them? Go kill them, take them to court? What would I do? And I decided, well, maybe the mistake I made was I just load them based on, I knew them from childhood and stuff like that. And I spoke to my lawyer and I said, why don't we just do a loan agreement with people that I loan money to, and then we get a guarantor, and they get a guarantor, and wherever the guarantor signs, and I can loan them the money and they bring the funds to me. And my lawyer told me, it's risky, Ade, but if you want to try it, let's try it out. And then we went into work and then did all that guarantor stuff and everything. And then we decided we're going to loan somebody. Then my lawyer called me back and said, hey, Ade, if you try this, let me tell you the implication. If they default, you're going to go to court. When you go to court, you don't have a money loaning license. And because you don't have the money loaning license is not a big deal. I can get it for you in less than 1 month. But this way you're going, you don't have a money loaning license. And when you get to court, you can only get back the capital. You cannot retrieve the interest. So be sure you're going to spend money in court. You're going to spend time, but you're only going to get back your capital. And that capital, sometimes if they don't have it, you have to garnish the account. It could take you 18 months, 19 months to do. Ade, don't do this. It's too risky. Then I walked back and I'm like, why am I bothering myself? My brother-in-law has the system. My brother-in-law has the process. He has the procedure. He's probably only lost 1% or 2% of his capital in the last 10 years. He's found a system that works. He has the license to operate. He has a corporation that runs solely on loaning business. Why don't I leverage on my resources, which is my capital, and leverage on my relationship, which is my manpower, my leverage on my capital, my money, and then leverage on my manpower, which is my brother-in-law relationship that we have that is family. When I'm trying to reinvent the wheel, isn't it dumb for me to try to reinvent the wheel when somebody that we trust, we love, that is family, that even if he disappears with the money, we're okay with it because some way, somehow, it will get to my nephew and nieces-in-law and they will be fine and that we really trust. And that's when it tweaked on me. If you know you want to play in the market and you want to set a certain amount of money residually and you want it to come every month, instead of me reinventing the wheel, why don't I give it to, let's call my brother-in-law, Mr. P. Why don't I give it to Mr. P to go play with? And that's how we started making residual income in the world of loans. So what I'm saying to you is, some people will have a better system than I am. Some people will have a system similar to my brother-in-law. Some people, it's a way for you to earn residual income, royalty, because your money is going to go out there, go work, come back. And if you calculate 5% in 12 months, it's already on the 60% margin. And you're smiling to the bank. It's all thinking in the middle, finding a way to use system, processes, procedures, resources to be able to make money with your sweat. In conclusion of this chapter, being the end of chapter 4, I believe so, end of chapter 4 is there are many industries. And we've given so many industries from beauty to financial, to service industry, to hotel industry, to hospitality. We've used different industry to give you an example of the different really ways for you to be able to get sweet in the middle, just setting up what is required in that middle. And lesson then from here, focus on creativity because creativity is what's going to put the money back in your pocket. I'll see you guys in the next chapter.